I know we're live right now. I forgot to do the intro. Meredith's not even here yet. I'm doing it now. Here we go.
Microphone.
Got it?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Sorry. I was upstairs washing down the cabinets, and I was like below the cabinet, and all of a sudden I looked up to see what time it was. I was like, "Holy crap! I gotta go!"
Yeah.
It's like just one more piece of dirt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Monday Night Draw. Thank you so much for taking the time and spending the
Monday night
with us. We appreciate it. So today, my plan.
Stormy says hi too.
Yeah. My plan was going to be to draw Lobo right here. And another character. And I actually have a spot for Punisher here. It's a nice big here. I'll see if I'm always afraid to move the camera. If it breaks, it'll be a while before I can fix it. There you go. So that's where Moon Knight would go, or Punisher would go. But Roy Dela Cruz has been in the chat asking for Moon Knight in action. And apparently there's going to be a Moon Knight trailer on football tonight. I saw in the chat, which is very cool. So I can't not do Moon Knight. Also,
Is
Roy.
Moon Knight on that picture?
Well, there's going to be now. And Roy also said that if I didn't do it, I was going to get punched by Bully McGee. I don't know, whatever. I don't know who that is, but nobody wants to be part of that. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So, but I am going to start with Lobo.
I'm going to put YouTube up on my computer. I'm going to finally get my YouTube up. I don't have YouTube up. I can't see the chat. I'm flying blind. Monday Night Draw Jam Piece return.
When Mighty R is here, Tomic Art is here, Alan Wada Art. I'm learning how to draw. I know Dan Genovese is not here because he's going to be here later. I saw that.
All right. I got this chat. I got the chat. I'm on the chat. I'm scrolling through the chat.
Yeah, he's like, draw Moon Knight. And then he goes, and it's all capitals. I mean, come on. And it's Moon Knight. So.
I have nothing to say to that.
I had to do it.
Henry Jeremic says, Stormy says, draw Storm.
Yeah, you know what? I'll have to do Storm. I have not drawn Storm.
You've been drawing like always about the big beefy guys, Dave.
Yeah, well, you know. It's what I like drawing. But yeah, I'm not going to be I'll end up doing Storm on this at some point, but it won't be tonight. So tonight,
Bully Maguire is Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3 when he is corrupted by the symbiote thing.
Right, okay.
Thank you, Skull Nasher.
I really should have known that.
Triton Ian says, how does Spider-Man artists not know who Bully Maguire is?
I saw the movie one time.
Yeah, we don't pay attention.
Let me put it
to
this
facts.
way. That was a one-time watch for me. It was not my favorite movie of Spider-Man. I mean, it was whatever. It was still good. I like Sandman in it.
Oh, fun little fact from Kevin Mandeville. It's the year's first full moon tonight. And the Moon Knight trailer is debuting. And Dave's drawing Moon Knight. How's that for marketing?
Well, everybody can thank Roy Dela Cruz. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Water.
I don't have it in front of me right now. And if I messed your name up, don't send Bully McGuire after me.
Apparently, I've already missed a super chat. How is that even possible? There we go. One Mighty R is a super chat for $5. I messaged Jim Lee and been commenting for y'all to do a collab. He hasn't answered yet. I'm trying.
Keep at him. You never know.
Did you start early tonight, Dave? Ray K. Ingles 123 wants to know when. I got to be honest. I feel like I was coming down at 7:58 and you were already on.
No, it was ready.
Sure.
Really. I mean, I started without you.
Yeah, you did. Well, good to know you will.
And I could hear you coming. And honestly, I mean, I could hold down the fort for a few minutes.
Do you remember when we first started how mad you would have been at me if I'd been late when the stream started?
Yeah, I do.
Would have lost your mind.
I remember being mad just about every time we did it.
Yeah.
Like when we started.
Well,
It's just stress. I'm like, oh, what's
yeah.
But I've been doing it long enough now. Like, yeah.
Now you don't need me to hold your hand. Humongous feet automaton. Thank you. I can't. Just the way it's written, it messes with me wanting to say it. Anyway, says has a super chat for $5 and says humongous feet says I keep asking Todd McFarlane to pop over to Monday Night Draw, but I guess he's too busy to answer fan requests.
He's very busy. That's for sure. He is busy.
Todd, we love Todd.
Yeah, he's very busy. All right.
Rika Ingles 123 says I was here like 2 hours ago, Meredith Finch. I just went for a dog walk. That's a long dog walk.
Actually, yeah, I saw him say it was like 10 minutes left, and he said that's enough time to walk the dog, and he took off to walk the dog. I saw that.
Art with custom fig 777 wants to know, did anyone else get a snowstorm? My town in Ontario got 10 inches. You know what we got here in Windsor, Ontario? Butt kiss.
Yeah, we did
nada, zip, zilch, no snow, not a flake landed on the ground. We missed it completely. And you know what I'm not? Sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. Not in the least little bit.
Okay.
Except that then I could have hooked up one of the horses to the sleigh. And by sleigh, I mean toboggan.
And by horse, you mean Stevie, a little tiny horse. We have a little.
Pretty much.
Literally,
I think I would actually do Monster. I'd probably hook Monster up. Although the harness I have fits Stevie.
Meanwhile, when you got Stevie, that was
I know. I didn't know how busy I was going to be.
And don't get me wrong, it's not like I was thinking to myself, wow, I can't wait for that.
It's not like that cart's going to go bad. It's not going to rot. Like your paint sitting around here that constantly has to be rebought.
Where's the anger coming from? All right. This out of my face a little bit. I'm going to zoom in.
Let's call it good-natured teasing. Chris Cormalis has a super chat for $5. Chris says, I'm having a hard time breaking down all poses into shapes. Is that because they're in perspective? Also, love your work. Are you doing more tutorials?
I am. I just had one come out a couple of days ago. Just had a new one about it. And really, it was more of a tutorial on how to learn is really the intent of it. And it was all about how to use reference from other artists, which I know is always a bit of it can be a touchy thing because so many artists will tell you that, you have to just look at life and whatever. But all those same artists that tell you that, you can plainly see the influences they got from other artists. It's just, so I want to be completely honest about how that works and how artists use their favorite artists to grow. And so that's really what it was. It's all about, because I do believe in sketching to practice from your favorite artists and seeing what you can pick up from that. But when you're actually drawing practically, especially when you're new, but really you should never completely stop. And for the most part, I draw. I don't really have stuff open anymore. Sometimes I think I'd be better off if I did a little bit more. I'd pick up more things. But for years, I would draw with a million books all over my desk and constantly be picking things up. And that's how you grow. So anyway, that's what the new one was about. The next one, which will be out next week, is it's either going to be about beginning perspective, and I really want it to be about the basics. Something I keep not covering. I keep covering how to draw figures in perspective. I kind of want to avoid something that I feel like you can just kind of get somewhere else. But I thought it would be good because I get a lot of people asking, and not understanding just the basic perspective. The other choice is I think I would do eyes. how to draw eyes and do a bunch of different angles and different types of eyes and that kind of thing, because I get also a lot of requests for that. It'd be a fairly simple one. So anyway, if you guys have a preference, I'd love to hear it. And go.
All right. Sorry, I was going back to watch the beginning of the stream to make sure that I didn't show up on the stream with my bad hair.
If you did, it's already too late. I mean, I don't know why you did.
But I didn't, so it doesn't matter.
No, I'm glad.
Yeah. I'm learning to draw, wrote Meredith Finch, let the horse ride the sleigh. And I hope this is a language issue and that you didn't really mean to spell sleigh, S-L-A-Y, unless there's a subtext to that I didn't understand.
Maybe it's a...
I'm going to slay the horse. It's going to slay. It's going to slay Dave. Creator has a super chat for $5. Hey, Dave, thank you so much for Saturday's video. I'm having a hard time visualizing how the tricep connects to the elbow.
Okay.
And by the way, that's the problem with the English language. Slay, S-L-E-I-G-H, and slay, S-L-A-Y, sound the same, but mean two very different things.
I've got a piece of paper that's all folded up here. I'm just going to use this one for right now. I'll probably have to get up in a bit. So
see how I did that little segue for you? I just take up the time.
Yeah, it is very entertaining. So how the tricep connects. Is that the question?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to draw, here's my deltoid. I'm drawing, this is an arm from the back. And here's my tricep. Here's my elbow. And then, the lower arm. So you have three heads to your tricep. You've got your frontal head, this one here. You've got a middle head here, and then you've got your rear head here, like this. That's basically how it works. And then your deltoid comes over it. And so your back would be in here. Draw a little chest. So there you go. So raised up, I'm going to raise the arm. So here's my deltoid. And I've got my frontal head here, my middle head here, and then the rear head here. Same kind of a thing. And it kind of connects right up in there. It doesn't really rest underneath. Like you don't get a big gap in here. Your shoulder, your deltoid really kind of covers that. Like that. So that's basically how it would connect into the shoulder from the back. One other thing I'm going to show you. So here's my deltoid. I'm going to draw this. This is more of a 3/4 from the front. So here is my bicep here. And my deltoid, I like to give it a bit of a shape like this. So it's actually got a bit of a hook at the bottom. And your tricep connects into that here. And then there's actually a central muscle that connects here. And then you get your forearm down here. So that's really kind of how it would look from that angle. It really, anatomy books will help with that, but only so much because they can really kind of vary strangely. What I would really recommend for that, for this whole connection here, you'd be amazed at how stills from UFC of people punching will help you with this whole area, because you see it quite a bit. You'll always have the guy in the foreground punching, the other guy getting punched, and you'll see that connection, and it can really be very helpful. I'd recommend taking a look at that.
All right. Greg L. Static Art has a super chat for $2. Hey guys, back to the jam piece. Cool. Dreamcast.
Yeah, thank you, Craig. Good to see you here.
Dreamcast 9920 has a super chat for $2. Thoughts on Bruce Timm's art?
I'm a huge fan. Actually, that's something I should really do for the book of the week sometime. I have to admit, he's not a big influence for me. But I mean, he's an incredible artist. Also, he's incredibly influential for animation for the last, 30 years, or I mean, I how long has it been since? It's got to be 30 years. I think it was like the 80s when the Batman animated cartoon came out. And he was very responsible for that whole look. He's iconic. He's really phenomenal and incredibly good at expressions and all the kinds of things that I don't do well.
Don't sell yourself short, baby.
Well, not as well as Bruce Timm, that is for sure.
The Three Eyebrows has a super chat. Mr. and Mrs. Finch, do you mind sharing your thoughts on starting independent versus working for an established company? Love from Bogi Bekov in Poland.
Okay, well, I'm going to say if you're starting, you're better to work for an established company if you can, because it is incredibly difficult to get your work in front of people. It's so easy to be ignored. I mean, the amount of incredible artists that are on Instagram with almost no people following them, like I've got one on the top of my head, an artist that I think a lot of you guys know. He actually, I think, was the first artist to draw X-23, so he designed X-23. I'm not 100% sure about that, but he certainly helped popularize her, if nothing else. Is Mike Choi, and Mike is doing painting now. He's doing oil painting, and it's beautiful stuff. It's very creative. It's really, really interesting. And I'm following on Instagram, and I love what he's doing. And not that many people are seeing it. It kills me, and I don't know why. Like, I think it's because it's a little different. It's not the comic art that people would expect from him. So, yeah, and I'm sure it'll get there, but it's taken a while for him, which is crazy because it's beautiful stuff. I highly recommend that you check out Mike Choi's stuff on Instagram. It's beautiful, very cool stuff. Anyway, so working for a company is better in the sense that they can get you exposure. That's a very, very important thing. It's irreplaceable. Working for yourself means that you could potentially own something. Well, I would assume you'd own it. And so if it becomes something, that obviously can be really great. So, that's the big advantage there. It's a trade-off. You work for Marvel or DC, you go in with the understanding that you don't own like the characters, they own them. I mean, they've invested years and years and years into it. And so even if you create a character, and I see this sometimes, you create a character for Batman or whatever, and you get very upset because, you feel like you should make more for it than you are. And I mean, hey, I'm all for that too. At the same time, though, Batman has been around for, generations, and the character that you might have created is benefiting from that history that, tons of people put time and stuff. So, you know what? I go into it with my eyes wide open, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't feel like I have any ownership over any kind of corporate books that I do. Don't get bitter about it.
Inflatable Sparrow says, David, thank you for your priceless advice. You are super cool, dude. I mean it.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Wayne Blackman has a super chat for $5. Wayne says, hi, guys. Love you guys. We love you too, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.
Kevin Mandeville says, if you were a supervillain, Meredith, your superpower would be a super yawn. We could call you Fatigue. I think Dave should copyright that character.
Not bad.
Very funny. Very funny. And I'm learning to draw says, yes, Meredith Finch, the horse is a natural enemy of the comic book fan in the wild. So yes, I mean slay. SLAY. Stranger One has a super chat for $5. Dave, thank you for your words last time I was here. I've decided to man up and send one of my books over to Image and see what happens.
Oh, that's great. Good luck. It's tough. And I mean, rejection is just part of it. And I mean, obviously, I certainly hope that it gets picked up and it becomes what you want it to be. But if it doesn't, don't stop. I think just about everybody out there that has gotten picked up and has made it has gone through that. And it's such a shame when a talented artist, and I've seen this a lot, doesn't make it because it's so difficult to put yourself out there. The rejection can be difficult. Rejection from not only editorial, but also fans. There could just be apathy. People don't care. You put the work out and it just seems like it just disappears and no one cares. That's tough. Or you can get active hate, where people truly hate what you do and want to tell you all the time. It's difficult, and that's part of it. Unfortunately, you put yourself out there. It's an open marketplace. Fans have a right to hate what you do, and you have to suck it up.
David, Chris Cormalis felt like maybe you didn't answer the first part of his super chat.
Okay.
He's having a hard time breaking down poses into shapes.
Oh, shoot. Yes.
Is that because they're in perspective? Getting the simple shapes out of for poses.
Okay, look, so here is a pelvis directly from the front. I'm under the camera here. So there's like a center line. So there's a pelvis directly from the front. Now from the side, I'm going to draw it, and it looks like this. Basically. A little bit of room for the butt there. Look at this. I can't even draw a pelvis from the side. It's a fiasco. Fired. So yeah, basically, I mean, from the side, from a bit of a top angle, and you guys know this, but it really is important to be able to draw these from multiple angles, and so and be able to turn them like 3D models in your head. And being able to do that with these shapes is really the key to, and I don't really actually ever, I don't draw through quite like that. Maybe I should, but really the way that I would do a pelvis from this angle would be much more like this. I would just leave it there. I would never try and finish out the shapes on the inside there or anything like that. And I mean, I would almost be thinking of it as like a solid shape. But the point being that there's that, and you need to get to the point where with every shape, like if you've got a tube for an arm, this is your shape. If it's pointed up a little bit, here would be your shape. And if it's directly sideways, it would be like this. And you need to really get to the point where you can turn all of your shapes. The head is probably the toughest in the sense that it's just a much more complex shape. So, an upward looking angle from like a almost profile, and I've done this a million times, so I've gotten more comfortable with it over the years, but I had to learn how to be able to do this. This is not automatic. And so you need to be a little bit patient with yourself to be able to get comfortable drawing these kinds of things quickly and easily from any angle. So that's a big part of it. Then you're asking for it with perspective. And now what you mean by that, and if I have a box in perspective, and now I'm just drawing the same thing that I've been drawing this whole time, all of these are in perspective, but I'm actually going to draw kind of some perspective. So I'd have one point about here, another point would be about here, and I'm actually drawing here, proper, this would be a 3-point perspective. So the other point would be way down here. Anyway, for me to draw a figure in here, I'm having to draw like the pelvis shape inside this. Something, kind of like, and you can see, look at this. This looks like garbage. I don't do this. Really, and it's crazy. If that's what you're trying to do, don't do that. What you want to do is you've got your basic angle, and that's fine. So your pelvis, you can break it down into just a really simple shape if it helps you. It's basically that kind of an angle, and so then just draw your shape on top of that. So it's like this. My chest, my stomach is going to come up like this. I've got a leg down like this. My other knee is going to kind of line up like this. And then the lower legs. Anyway, and I can draw my whole figure like that. And you need to get comfortable with that, but don't be thinking, oh, how does this line or whatever line up to exact perspective? You will drive yourself bananas. So you need to, think of it as an overall rule instead of some kind of a, measuring things and getting too crazy with it. That Sight unseen is the best advice I could give for that.
I hope that helps, Chris. All right. Now I'm scrolling back down. Dan Lassard has a super chat
Thanks,
for
Dan.
$5. Dan says, "Good evening, Finches. Hope 2022 is off to a fantastic start. Have a great night." Thank
Yeah,
you,
you
Dan. You as well.
I got to email Dan. Actually, we need to draw again this week. We took a bit of a break for Christmas. Everybody's just got too much stuff going on. But now that Christmas is done, we need to get back to it.
Tagmo Waterworks has a super chat for $10. Tag says, "Hey, DNM, great minds think alike. I'm actually drawing Lobo right now. And I'm left-handed, so we're both awesome. Thanks for everything you do."
Thank you very much, Tagmo.
Michael Johnson Curry has a super chat for $4.99. Advanced Cross-Hatching Part 1, brought to us by Squarespace. I've watched more than any of your videos, and I watch your stuff all the time. Is there maybe a part 2?
Oh, yes, there will be a part 2. Absolutely, there will be a part 2. I know exactly what I want to do with part 2, and that is, I really wanted to break down be more complex with it in the sense of being more directional with it, and explaining some of that thought process. For a part 2, what I want to do is just get crazy with it and just keep going and going until there's just too much. So I want to see how much line and rendering and that kind of thing I can layer and have it still work. And you can do quite a bit if you follow a few relatively simple rules, and that's what I want to talk about the next part, which will also be coming soon. And yeah, Squarespace, very much appreciate their support.
Danny Brown has a super chat for $5. Danny wants to know any book recommendations on drawing drapery. Whenever I draw a shirt, I just draw random lines. I don't have an understanding of drapery and folds. Danny, allow me to say that I believe Dave Finch has a video about this. In fact, I think it's called How to Draw Drapery or something in folds.
Right, but he's looking for a book recommendation, and I have one of those too.
Well, see, you don't have to watch the Dave Finch video. You can read a book about it.
I used to have a book that, I think the thing cost like $500. It was almost impossible to find. I lent it out. I don't know who never saw it again. But
not the first one.
Not the first one. That was the most expensive of the books that I lost. But it doesn't really matter because you can find all of his stuff online. And that the artist is J.C. Leyendecker. J.C. Leyendecker was the artist for the Saturday Evening Post before Norman Rockwell. And his work is incredible. It's oil painting, but it's done in a really illustrated, linear kind of a style. It's very blocked out. I actually learned about Leyendecker from Mark Silvestri, and he recommended Leyendecker for folds, and that's a lot of his fold influence came from J.C. Leyendecker. So I would really recommend right now, go and Google J.C. Leyendecker. That's J, the letter J, C, and then L-Y, and Decker. I'm not sure, but it should auto-complete.
You're funny. Your spelling is the bomb, Dave.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The bomb. All right. Timothy Matthews has a super chat for $5. Timothy says, "Thank you both for this incredible stream."
Oh, well, thank you so much, Timothy.
Thank you, Timothy. Thank you so much. And Jamal Rashid is here with a super chat for $4.99. Jamal says, "Finch, bam! What's up? God is good, and you're right. Batman is, will, and always will be my favorite, and nobody draws it better than you. God bless, fam." Thank you so much, Jamal. God bless you too, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, Jamal. I'm actually given a little bit of room here because I'm not sure what I'm going to do underneath it. So I'll end up having to finish this figure. After I do, there's going to be a whole lot of, once I'm finished, tying everything together. It's going to be like a whole other job. All right.
Jack Tankersley says, "This is my babe YouTube channel." Thanks, Jack.
Thank you very much, Jack. I appreciate it. Oh, before I forget, I want to mention.
What would you like to mention, Dave?
We have an Eric and Dave stream coming up on Thursday. One way or another, we do. And I have managed to get Brian Stelfreeze. And he's going to come and show us some watercolor. So there you go. I'm so excited about it. I cannot wait. I'm not 100% sure. So he's agreed to come do it. If you're not familiar with Brian Stelfreeze, first of all, you should be. He's incredible. He's a longtime Marvel and DC artist, and among others, of course, and an incredible pencil and ink artist, and an incredible watercolor artist. Very, very famous for it. He goes to conventions and does watercolor right at the table in front of people, and I've stood there and watched him do it, and it's magical. So Eric and I are going to try and follow along with him and fall on our face a little bit. Although
I feel like try is the operative word here, because I said to Dave when he told me he was doing this, not that I don't think that this is going to be awesome, but you don't do watercolor.
No, I have tried.
Every time you fall flat on your face.
Yeah, like truly, completely.
This might be a stream I might watch just to watch
me fail. I know,
but you're so damn good at every other thing that you do artistically. I think sometimes it's good.
Well, the way I look at it is, no matter how badly I fail, we have Brian Stelfreeze. So I'm not sure if that's going to be Thursday. We need to. I'm trying for Thursday. If not, I'll have another stream on Thursday. Either way, we're going to have a stream on Thursday. So if not, it'll be, I'm going to design a character on
Eric
Thursday.
Doesn't want to spend time with his child. He'd rather be here with you.
He spends all kinds of time. He's a good dad.
I know he's a good dad. I'm teasing you.
But so hopefully it's Brian Stelfreeze. If not, then it'll be next week, or I'll have to make sure. I haven't got the exact date confirmed, but I do have the fact that he's willing to do it confirmed. So we'll see. But I'm blocking out the time because I got to be honest, for Brian Stelfreeze, I'm pretty much gonna, like anytime he wants to do it, I want to be ready. So blocking out the time. Right.
He calls, you say yes.
That's right. Yeah, I was pretty thrilled. I had another artist that I tried to get a hold of months ago, a little bit ago, an incredible artist, and he is not set up to go live, unfortunately. So hopefully at some point we'll be able to get him. But in the meantime, we have
other awesome stuff.
Well, we have Brian Stelfreeze.
Yes. Toma Hinnick has a super chat, Dave, for 2000 HUF. I don't know what that is. Hey, Dave, nice job last week. Thumbs up. How would you draw a dynamic pose of a character with an assault rifle like the Punisher or Cable?
Thank you. Okay. Okay. So the first thing that you need to know is you really should reference. For somebody holding a gun, it's not something that you're going to be able to naturally do as easily as you might think. So I'm going to draw, like, here's a 3/4.
And Dave does use reference. I can't tell you how many times I've had to hold a spoon.
So I've got my gun. I'm drawing it as just a big block right now. And I'm going to draw my hand holding and here's my arm. I drew the hand first. I find it easier. Now here's my other hand. And so here you go. He's got the gun and he's pointing it. But this kind of pose with the gun, you're going to need a reference if you haven't done it and you're not totally comfortable. The two-handed gun holding pose is tough. And so if I want to draw like a dynamic thing, let's say I've got a guy with a pistol. Well, I'm going to draw, here's a guy. He's leaned over. I've got his arm kind of coming toward me. So let me draw his arm coming out like this. I've got the cat all over my desk.
I noticed that.
His other leg back like this. I've got his other hand up here. And so here's his hand. And I'm going to draw the gun just again as a simple block shape there. And I'll draw another gun as a simple block shape there. And so that's how I can do that. Single hand is much easier. It's actually very easy in comparison. Double-handed, holding a gun like this in any pose, you want to reference. And, if you can find good reference online, great. I'd really recommend just getting one of those big, crazy Nerf guns and, posing in the mirror or having somebody take a picture or give it to a friend, have them pose in the way that you want it and take a picture. You don't need to use a whole body, but you want to get the arms and the hands. It's very difficult otherwise. Cat. All right.
Oh, careful, she's still surgery fragile.
I know.
We fixed her little red wagon this week.
We did.
All right. Hold on. Scrolling down to the next super chat. Which is Allison McGlone for $4.99. Allison says, "Hey, Dave and Meredith, I didn't sleep through this one. Yay! Any thoughts on Dungeons and Dragons? If you recall, Dave Allison was going to do a D&D game for us. She wanted to know if you wanted from like the Drist or did we want our own world?
Dressed.
Because it makes never mind to me.
Yeah, no, for sure, definitely dressed. We're gonna have to figure out when we can do this too. We'll have to talk and find a time and get it set up. I would really like to do it.
I'm worried because you might have killed Dungeons and Dragons for me a year and a half ago when you tried to.
Hey, that wasn't me. That was Lance.
Every time we tried to play, even with your sister and Ken. I'm sorry, Leslie and Ken, if you're listening, but it didn't end up being a game. It just ended up being a conversation. And at that point, there's no such thing as a game.
Well, it's because we're trying to play with kids too, right?
I know.
And we all love the kids, but
we love the kids, but no kids involved. Maybe I just needed alcohol.
There you go, maybe.
RK has a super chat for €5. RK says, "Thanks for the hatching tutorial. You both are great." Big heart. Did you think about doing NFTs? I'm going to bed because it's very late around here.
Thank you very much, RK. I have absolutely thought about doing NFTs. There was a lot of debate about them being bad for the environment, but apparently there are ways to do that where it's not the issue that it was. I hear. I don't really look. I don't know. Look, this is. We're all artists here, right? It's a business, and if that's a way that people would like to get their original art, then yeah, I'm all for it. I'm not going to say, oh no. So yes, I thought about it. I don't have any current direct plans, but
Princess.
But yes, I've definitely thought about it.
Nathan S has a super chat for $10. "Hey, David and Meredith. Awesome to see you're doing well. Recently, I've been having trouble placing eyes correctly. Also, thank you for the advice you gave me last week about getting into the industry."
Welcome. Okay, so eyes, it really comes down to drawing a skull. So, like for this face here, instead of just drawing an eye and trying to figure out where that's going to go, I've got essentially a skull here. So this would be my socket here. So if you think of your head, I mean, you don't need to cut the nose off, but to make it look more like a skull, you can. So there's basically my skull. That would be kind of under the skin. So there you go. And the socket has this kind of a shape to it. It's got a concave convex. I don't know, whatever. It's got a curved shape that goes inward. And so your eye would be kind of in here. So let me draw. Here's my eyebrow from the front. And that would be at the top of, and my nose would be here, you know. And so I've got a bit of a shape like this. And so my eye is just going to be right recessed in here. Think of okay. A good example is let's draw a head. We're looking down at the head. So here's my head. Here's my face, my ears here. And so I'm going to draw, here's one eye socket. Here's another eye socket. And my eye is going to be well up here because from the side, here's my socket from the side. My eye is in here and my brow is over here. And then here would be my nose. And because you're looking down at it, this would be foreshortened over. You'd be looking at it basically like this. So you'd only see a little bit of the eye here. Whereas if you're looking up at the eye, here's my my brow. I'm looking up at the whole face. My eye would be down here much more. And then you'd see a lot more of the brow. So you really need to bear in mind the angle. I've got, can you see behind? I'm not going to go get it. There, I've got a skull behind me. And, you know, getting one of those, you can kind of turn it around if that helps. And it'll give you a sense of how that shape sits at different angles and you can fit an eye in there. But it really is about thinking of that as an ocular kind of cavity that the eye rests inside instead of just placing an eye on the face.
Cool. And on that note, Greg L. Static Art has a super chat for $5. Greg says, would love a tutorial on drawing a head and focusing on the eyes, facial features on different angles. In fact, different body parts on different angles would be great.
You know what? I think actually what I will do is instead of just drawing eyes, I will draw heads and then focus on the eyes. And I think that's actually, because drawing, the biggest problem with drawing eyes, yeah, it can be some of the detail, but really the biggest problem is getting them placed like we were talking about there. And I think I could go a lot more in depth. I do have a video on drawing superhero heads that has a good section on that, but I wanted to do something where, you know, where I've got like eyes and the noses and kind of break them down for some YouTube videos. And I'm ready to start drawing Moon Knight. See if I can find a way to move this stuff around. I've got stuff all over the place here. So I'm going to have to move my...
Rika Inglaze 123 wants to know, David, if you have seen the trailer for the Moon Knight live action series.
No.
And you won't watch it. He won't watch trailers.
Okay, if you guys tell me it's good, I'll watch it.
The trailer?
Yeah,
You don't like watching trailers.
What did I do with my pencil?
It fell on the floor. Something fell on the floor.
Did it?
By your dish. It's in your dish.
It's in my dish.
The dish from your lunch.
Hey, the one dish.
Well, fair enough. It's quite clean.
It's pretty clean, but you know what? I'm out of lead. Hold on.
Well, you get up to get some more lead.
Yeah. I think I've got lead just sitting right here.
Aubrey Cringen has a super chat for $4.99. Aubrey says, hey, Finch fam. Sorry if I'm too loud. Just curious if you might have some manga artist recommendations for reference. Thanks much. And a terrific piece as always.
Thank you very much. I should mention, for any of you that haven't seen this picture before, this is not all my artwork. This is actually George Perez here, these two figures. This is Alex Ross. It's an original Alex Ross gouache painting just over here. I'm going to move the camera around a little bit so you can see some of this. There are two Todd McFarlane pieces on here. Got to try and move it and not break it. So I've got a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man on here and a Todd McFarlane Spawn. There is a Jim Lee Batman, J. Scott Campbell, Danger Girl, and there's Eric Larson. Anyway, a bunch of different artists on here. So it's not all me. And the Alex Ross piece, in order to keep it safe has got some paper over it. Unfortunately, I need to move the paper in order to draw right here. This is where we're going to put Moon Knight. It's going to be small, but I'm going to go very detailed. It's going to be fun. And there we go.
All right. Recommendations, Dave. Manga artist recommendations for reference.
My favorite manga artist for reference is Masamune Shiro or Shiro Masamune. I know I can never remember which way. I want something that under my hand here. I can't use this because it's blocking. This has got Spider-Man drawn by Isaac, my son, on it. He brought it down. So there you go. Okay.
So that's the only recommendation?
Oh, yeah, Masamune Shiro. Oh, shoot. Akira, the artist from Akira. I apologize. I'm forgetting. The artist from Battle Angel Alita. Unfortunately,
you're really terrible with names.
I'm terrible with names, and you'll notice that my manga influences tend to be like those are older artists. I need to find a way to stop crinkling this. I know, but I don't look at a lot of manga truthfully. And I mean, I love it. I have a lot of respect for it. It's not really my thing. That's all. For the most part. I know manga is very popular. I mean, it's kicking American comics butt right now, but I love American comics.
Johnny Vitz has a super chat for $2. Johnny says, staying for 10 minutes. Hope everyone is well. I hope you're well too, Johnny. Happy New Year.
Yeah, good to see Johnny Fitz here.
Kevin Mandeville says, clear schedule for Thursdays. Because Brian Stelfreeze is here.
Yeah.
Long Journeys has a super chat for $2. Have you tried watercolor pencils? They're easier.
That's what he's asking?
Yes.
Yes, not successfully.
He's not good with watercolor.
Yeah.
But he sat down with my mother, who paints watercolor all the time. And still, no luck.
Oh, no, it helped. But, yeah, it wasn't great. So
you're not that.
Eric, on the other hand,
Eric is a bomb at watercolor.
Yeah, he's already kicking
speaking
ass.
of which, Eric sent me this. And he said, I didn't send it to show it on the stream. I was just trying to be funny. I'll see myself out. I painted Johan. Do you know, it must be an inside joke.
Hang on. See if I can make it bigger. So yeah, this Eric, we were drawing together a couple of days ago, and Eric drew the face. I think this is the same face that Eric was drawing, and yeah, this is watercolor, and look at how great it looks.
Looks amazing.
So yeah, I know you didn't want to show it on screen, whatever.
Eric can do watercolor,
yeah.
You can't.
So Eric is going to be actually we're going to do it last night, but we had family stuff, so tomorrow we're going to do a practice run. And this is Eric kind of working with Brian Stelfreeze's technique. So I'm hoping that Eric can teach me enough about this that by the time we do it, at least I won't be going in totally cold.
Everybody sees the cat's tail. Matt Linka says, I keep thinking of the Jaws music every time I see that cat tail.
Yeah.
Kevin Mandeville says, every time the cat shows up, I just hear, Dormammu, I'm here to bargain, in Meredith Finch voice. Story by Osmosis says the cat's tail is like Jaws' fin crossing the screen. And Charles Petrie wants to know, which cat's tail is that? It's only Princess.
Yeah, that's...
Stormy doesn't jump on your desk, does he?
Stormy did last week.
Oh, did he? Oh, there you go. It's Princess
Has
tonight.
happened, but yeah, it's generally Princess.
Princess. Because Dave's her man.
Which cat is that? It's Princess.
Yeah, Stormy was here, and now he's like, it's not that interesting. Thomas Gandy has a super chat for $2. Did you get to see Nen Chang's watercolor art?
No. Nen Chang. I'm gonna have to check it out. truthfully, right now, my one watercolor artist that I'm really kind of focused on is Brian Stelfreeze. I mean, his stuff is incredibly beautiful, and he has a technique. He has actually a YouTube channel. He's only got a couple of videos up there. And by the way, as soon as I figure out what we're going to draw, I'm going to post both of our drawings, Eric and mine, and hopefully we can get a hold of Brian's and post them up so you guys can see what we're going to be doing. And you can draw yours beforehand the way that we will, because we'll be drawing the pictures beforehand, and then be able to follow along with us, which would be great.
Atomic Art says, Meredith, can my cat and Stormy be best friends? All my cat does is sleep. Then your cat won't like Stormy because Stormy likes to play. Likes to play. He pounces on poor Princess. He is a definite weight advantage. Mr. Alonzo Washington has a super chat for $5. Alonzo says, David, would you use Pinterest as digital reference file, for weapons and facial expressions?
Yeah, and I do.
You would if you knew how to use Pinterest.
Yeah, I can log into it.
He can log into it, people.
That's what you do. You log in, you can find pictures. I mean, is there something I'm missing?
Yes.
Okay, whatever.
You can pin your own pictures and create these files where reference that you need. That's how I did our house. I would be all these pictures are inspiration for the mudroom. All these pictures are inspiration for the bathroom, and you can pin them under, you can catalog your reference.
Oh, well, what a good thing that they came up with that. I mean, before that, you couldn't just create a file on your computer and then save pictures you like.
Yeah, but why would you take up space on your computer? None of that's on my computer. It's saved on the internet. And then other people can look at it and see your reference and get inspired by your reference and your pin boards. It's like a bulletin board. It's like your own bulletin board.
The last thing I want is for people to see where I'm swiping all my stuff.
Alonso, I'm trying. I think Pinterest is a great option as a digital reference means of keeping track of your digital reference. If I could get Dave to learn how to use Pinterest, you can even put a little thing on your toolbar where if you see something you like, you just hit the pin and it pins it for you.
Okay.
You want to spend some time learning Pinterest, Dave?
No, I don't.
There's your answer right there, Alonzo. I think it's great, but what do I know? I'm not an artist. Daryl Art says, hi, David. Greetings from Paloma de Mallorca. Mallorca. I'm going to go.
Greetings. That was it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. Thank you. By the way, has anybody seen the Moon Knight thing yet?
I don't know.
Been out?
Everybody's, I'm the Alex Ross is a god post. That's what everybody's saying. Alex Ross is a god. Faruko, Alex Ross is a goat.
Yeah, it's all right.
Carlos Perez, Alex Ross inspires everyone.
Yeah.
Leonardo Kamaru, Alex Ross is a god. Kevin Mandeville, that Superman is stunning. Alex Ross is so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a few pictures on here where it's, really, it's an incredible piece with some of the artists that are on here.
Luke LaFontaine, bought myself a stack of printer paper, 500 sheets for $10. I've been blazing through all your tutorials, learning lots. Thanks for making them. Great way to do it, Luke. That's what I give Isaac to draw on.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Actually, he had his first day
working for the dad
yesterday. I had him put some pages together. I'm doing all of my pages for my book double-sized, and so I'm just taping two pages together because I find it so unwieldy trying to draw on a really big piece of paper. Anyway, so he did 5 of them yesterday. He did a good job.
Chris Mudd has a super chat for $10. David, I just started watching your streams recently and I love it. I look forward to it every Monday. Do you have a list of the pens that you use?
Thank you very much. I don't have a list, but what I do have is the pens that I use. And so this is a Micron 01. It's the only one I use. I don't go thinner than this because then I get too detailed. I can drive myself crazy. And the truth be told, like there are artists that do beautiful, beautiful, like incredible, intricate line, tiny line stuff, really textural, and I mean it's beautiful. But then it gets colored and printed, and it doesn't really print the same, and it loses so much. And I like something that's just a little bit more graphic. So I don't go smaller than an 0.1 or 0.1, whatever. And then I've got my Tombow brush pen. This is a hard. There's a soft and a hard. The hard has silver, and the soft has gold here, and the soft is also black. This is blue. I use these like a much more controlled brush. I can get a thick to thin, but they give you quite a bit of control. And then my only other one is my brush pen. You can squeeze out more ink from the chamber, and this is a Pentel. Look up Pentel brush pen. You should be able to find these. And you can get refills. These things come off. They turn the opposite way for whatever reason. But yeah, I use these as my my brush. Oh, and this is my whiteout. It's just a Uni Posca with the wrapper still on. So there you go.
Isaac Art says, Meredith Finch, is Isaac the name of your son? Tell him Isaac is the best name ever. Isaac is the best name ever. Isaac means laughter. And that is exactly what I did when I found out I was pregnant with him 5 years after my last child.
Ruefully. We were so thrilled. It was a bit of a like, oh no, but we were thrilled.
Unexpectedly thrilled.
Meredith's sister
was pregnant at the same. Already knew she was pregnant.
Yep, and took a test. And what made you take a test? Even
I don't know.
She was taking it, so you thought, hey,
We were down in Belleville because my dad was having prostate surgery, and Andrea was pregnant, and I was like, ha ha ha! Wouldn't it be funny if I was pregnant too?
Yeah, like what are the odds?
I mean, and you know, women only take a test for one reason, Dave, because they're late.
Oh, and you were late.
So
okay, well there you go. So it wasn't a total like, yeah.
It wasn't totally like I'm like ha 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 ha. I'm sure it's just no big deal. And then I was like, oh, and also it was my third. Like I had the things that were like, maybe I might be like the little signs. Been third a few times. You know what they are. And if you don't, well, then you're not part of the club.
Great.
Doobie Doolar has a super chat. I love that name for $5. Wasn't one of Ross's Joker covers an homage to Lion Decker? Alex Ross's Joker covers was an homage to Lion Decker. Do you know that?
I think that might be true, and I'm okay. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that actually might be true.
That sounds good. Let's go with it.
Yeah, let's go with it.
We're gonna go with. We agree with you, Doobie. With a name like Doobie, how could you be wrong? Robert Gamble has a super chat for $4.99, but Robert, I use a 6. Robert says I use a 6H because it feels like I'm drawing on cardboard, more of a drag on the paper. Is there any drawbacks to using a hard lead?
Yes, the drawback to using hard lead is that it is incredibly difficult to get a line to go down. If you're using it and it's working and it's showing up dark enough that it's usable, then I think it's 100% fine. To me, that seems outrageously hard, though. I have to be honest. Like, I use a 2H. I've tried 3H. And I just found it feels thankless trying to get the pencil to go down. I've tried H. If it's really humid, like in the summer, sometimes it can get really humid. And I actually switched to H because it works like a 2H. It feels like a 2H when it's more humid. Otherwise, yeah, I think there's a bigger problem in going softer because it makes it really difficult to get detail and you can smudge easily. But if you can go harder and it's working for you, then I see no reason to say that that's wrong at all. My experience, that would be way too hard for me. But this is, everybody really is different. And it depends on how you draw. I press really hard. It's a problem for me all the time.
Lee Taspy has a super chat for $5. I feel like I couldn't have written this question better myself. Hey Dave, I appreciate all the tutorials and courses, and I want to know if you have a shirt with your logo. I want to represent the Finch Art School. Why Lee? What a fabulous question. Dave does have a shirt with his logo, and you can order it from the community tab on Facebook. There's a link.
And also just on YouTube on the community tab.
That's what I just said.
You said on Facebook.
Facebook, YouTube. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay, fair
Just
enough.
off YouTube. And apparently, according to people on the stream and us, because I've seen the t-shirts in person, they're quite nice quality. Anthony G is a super chat for $4.99. Just because I like ya. Happy Monday.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Great to see you here. I need to be so careful with it. I want to erase, but I don't want to do anything to disturb Alex Ross's picture.
Careful.
And I'm not going to use a brush on this at all. It's actually pretty small, this figure, so I'm going to drop in my shadows with this. And see how much detail I can get into this tiny little figure. I'm actually going to go maybe even... I tend to work pretty quickly on Monday Night Draw because you guys don't want to sit here and watch me go... Like, it would get boring pretty fast. But I want to try and be pretty tight with this one.
David, do you have a book of the week?
I don't know. Yeah, I totally forgot. I could try and think fast if you'd like.
No, it's fine. I'm sorry. Maybe... Could I come up with a book of the week?
Certainly, go ahead.
I don't have one.
Okay.
Sorry.
You know what? Actually, Eric had a book he showed me on Saturday that I thought was great. I really liked it. Maybe Eric would be willing to come on and show us.
Eric, message me on Facebook and tell me if you want to come on and...
Eric, if you want to come on
and show us your book.
If you want to come on and show us a book, if you wouldn't mind, just come on right in. And
he's like, dang, I didn't do my hair today. Stop asking me to impromptu be on the show. Wait, well, Eric decides if he wants to tell us about his book of the week. Waiter Shush, or otherwise known as Hater, is here with a super chat. Just saying hi, Finches and Flock, prepping for an arts festival I'll be part of here in Singapore on Saturday this week. The stream is always helpful. Hater. He says, oh man, okay, give me a sec. Got to powder my nose. That's Eric. Eric's powdering his nose and then he'll come on. Jim Klein has Hater, first of all, let me acknowledge Hater. Hater, good luck at your art festival. That's awesome. I don't know if you'll be exhibiting. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck.
And thanks for always being here week after week. He has to move his computer, says Eric. Okay. Jim Klein has a super chat for $20. Jim says, any tips on overlapping black objects without losing them into each other? I'm drawing black cat fighting silk, and the black limb over black hair nature of the grapple is a bit tricky. Rim lights are working.
Yes. Well, and really, it's so... Where's my paper? So run out of room here. All right. So I've got a character. I'm just going to draw like a sphere that's dark. And so there's my shadow. And I've got a rim light here. And then I can draw another one here and do the same thing. And it'll totally work. And I could go back, a million times and it'll work as long as I plan it like that. So if I have here's a figure smiling. There's an arm. Here's another arm. So here's my figure. I'm going to light it like this, and I'm going to go pretty dark with it. So here you go. It's pretty dark, right? If I put another figure back here that's also dark, it can get very confusing. But what I can do is I'm going to draw that figure here. And that will just kind of bleed right into it. But what I can do then is let me just erase out here. This is like the worst drawing of all the bad drawings that I've done. This is getting comically bad. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a rim light, which I do all the time in my artwork. Kevin Nolan, phenomenal at this kind of thing, by the way. And so there's my, there's my rim light, shadow down the leg here. And now when I put this figure behind, it's going to pop against that rim light. Like you were saying, what I'd like to avoid is, I can also strategically plan my lighting. You can see how even though I'm really dark, I'm still light over here. So if I put the other figure here and shadow it, it'll still work. And that's just more planning in my placement. So bear that in mind too. I'm totally off the camera the whole time here. Now, what I avoid is, here's an arm, and I'm going to draw a rim light like this all the way down, even thickness all the way down the arm. That to me always looks bad. So, what I'm going to do is, here's my arm. Here's the shape of it. I've got my shoulder here. I've got like a little hint of muscle here. And then it kind of connects here. And this is where looking at artists that do this really well can be very helpful. If you kind of struggle to get this kind of layering working, but you really want to get, I'm off the thing again here. You really want to get some kind of a shape to your rim light. So it's not just a flat thing.
Eric might be on, Dave.
Is he? No.
Okay. Michael DeFonte has a super chat for $5. Hi, Meredith and Dave. Anyone mention the new Moon Knight trailer sometime tonight? Also, I hope you and your family have a happy and healthy year.
You too, and thank you. And we have mentioned it, but we have not seen it. And actually, I just asked if anybody had seen it and what people thought. I'm really, what I want to see is Moon Knight in like this kind of a costume, like a classic Moon Knight. There's the Moon Knight in a suit, and it's cool, but it's not my Moon Knight. It's not what I prefer, and I want to see it be like my Moon Knight, obviously, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to see it look like what they were doing? My Moon Knight costume, by the way, I don't want to somehow suggest that it's mine. It's really the classic Bill Sienkiewicz costume. There's some influences from some other artists. A big influence for my Moon Knight is Stephen Platt. So, I can't really claim much, but, what I would prefer to see is a Moon Knight, I guess, in that vein.
All right. Junebug17 PF has a super chat for $5. Hi, Dave. Just want to say I appreciate the time you give us with all the tutorials you have given us to be better with our artwork. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. It is a pleasure to do it. And Eric is here. So here we go. All right. We're going to do the book of the week. Let me switch over.
Playing?
Hey, Dave, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Meredith put the book of the week music on. I can't hear you. There we go. And you're focused.
All right. Sweet. You're talking about Black Hammer, right?
Yes. And we were both looking at this book, and I thought it was really, really great. Like some of the panels in there. Anyway, it's your book, so I'll shut up. But yeah, I thought this was an incredible book. Great artist.
Yeah. So the artist is Dean Ormston, and what caught my attention in this book was the way he frames panels and his backgrounds as well is really, really well done. But the way he composes his panels and frames them is just really, really good. See if I can find any particular shots right now, but a lot of his backgrounds reminded me of the way Dave renders his. And see if I can find some good. I mean, look at this. This is pretty. I just love the composition here over the shoulder.
Yep. I love the panel just below it too.
Yeah.
He's walking in the door there. It's really great. And I mean, the guy cooking breakfast. Every panel, I think, is.
Yeah, he's a fantastic storyteller. some really sweet panels down the line as well. Using the tree here to frame this shot is really, really awesome.
Yep.
And the story so far is pretty good. I haven't read it all the way.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get this book. I need to just order it. I keep not leaving the house and going to the comic store. I need to just get to the comic store and kind of support my local store a little bit more. But you passed a panel there that I really like. That city scene there, I think is really, really nicely done.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
It's deceptive. Like, those scenes always look fairly easy, but they tend to be harder than people think. And look at how narrow the windows are on the dark side of that building in the foreground.
Yeah, particular problem I'm struggling with, but yeah, great. There were some really other neat panels that I'd seen here. This shot here just reminds me of like Gotham by Gaslight or something.
Yeah, oh yeah, Gotham by Gaslight, and it looks like the original Bruce Timm. We're talking about Bruce Timm. The original Tim Burton Batman movie. The artist, and I can't remember his name, that did the designs for that stuff. I can see a lot of that in there. It's really amazing looking. I love that panel.
Which one's it? This one here?
Yeah, with the woman at the desk. I mean, that is really great.
Yeah. Yeah, his use of light and shadow is really, really good.
Anthony G is asking what book this is. He had to change a diaper.
This is Black Hammer.
Black Hammer, and the artist is
Dean Ormston.
Dean Ormston.
Yeah. I think he did some 2000 AD stuff, or some stuff for 2000 AD. Yeah, this is Black Hammer Secret Origins. This is book 1, but there's a bunch of them. There's some extended universe stuff as well. I'm not sure if he drew those or not, but it's really, really great stuff. There's a lot of, if you looked at David's video on perspective hacks and looking at other artists' perspectives to get inspiration for your own, this is definitely a good book to go to for that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Again,
great panel.
the way he uses the trees here to frame the composition is really, really good in this book.
Yeah. No, that's a great job.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Eric, thanks for filling in for Dave and his.
That's actually, and you know what? I really also appreciate, just for my part, I appreciate having a book. I just keep not getting to the store, so my books are getting a little old over here, and it's nice to bring in something new. And I love this stuff. I'm going to buy all of them.
Yeah,
I think it's really, really great. So yeah, Dean Ormston. I said that wrong, didn't I? Ormston. I'm sorry, Dean. And Black Hammer.
Book of the week.
Yeah.
All right, Erica, putting on the music.
Good, no problem.
Hey, thank you so much, Eric. I really appreciate it.
Music. I don't know
I think she did. Yeah, you really bailed me out. I really appreciate it. We're gonna have to do this a little bit more. It's kind of nice to have somebody else find a good book of the week.
No worries.
All right.
Thank
you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah. Sure, no problem.
And that means it's that time of the night. If you have not already hit like, then do so now. 330 people with 4 people.
I was off the stream.
Awesome.
I don't know how that happened. There we go.
All right. Daryl Art says, I follow your channel for a short time relatively, but I like the spontaneity and sympathy of you and your wife. They're great. And of course, you are a fantastic artist, Dave.
Well, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. I know you guys
That's
put up
for,
with
he's
Meredith.
from Spain.
From Spain. I know you guys put up with Meredith, and that's tough. I appreciate, and you know, definitely. Also, being someone that puts up with Meredith, I understand your pain. So she doesn't care. Okay. On that note, his arm, because I've got it lit from here.
I would not talk for the rest of the night, except the only people I'd be punishing are the people on the stream.
I know.
And not you.
Which is why I can get away with saying stuff that I would not try to say otherwise.
Yeah, don't you worry.
His arm should cast a shadow all the way down his stomach.
It should.
And I will not.
But you're not going to do it.
I don't know. I'm not sure. What I'm going to do is.
You should do it.
I think I probably will, but I'm going to finish it first. And then I'll make the decision. It's if I don't do it, it's wrong. If I do it, it can kind of close it in, and it's a bit of an artistic choice at that point. Like I try not to let the rules completely dictate my art to the point where I do things that are harmful to a picture just because that's how it should be. But I do think it'll work, so I'm gonna do it. I think. Whatever. I'm gonna finish it first, and then we'll decide. This knee is gonna be over this guy here. All right, you're going quiet. I apologize. I'm sorry. Just kidding.
I'm just reading messages. So in the chat. Dave, it's the chat right now is not on screen, boss. Off camera, just eyes. Was it me? I can't see what Dave's drawing. Not on screen. Can't see Dave. You're off camera.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it's on now, though, right? It's on now. By the way, I just saw that.
Yeah, the cat's trying to tell him to move the paper up.
I just saw that the Rams are winning right now. So, way to go, Kurt Warner. Marshall Falk.
There you go.
They played for the Rams 20 years ago.
Makeo Church has a super chat for $5. Hey, Dave and Meredith, thank you for the stream. Question: how do you differentiate tattoos from shadows on a character?
I don't know. I don't have a tutorial. I'm so sorry. I don't have a tutorial for how to do that. It's not just tattoos. It's also like a character like Wolverine has like stripes. Like he's got a costume and it's got a stripe right here and then under his arms, and you shadow something out and those disappear. The only way to really make those work is to just not shadow, and then you can do those darks. I don't draw that way. I have to draw like I don't like drawing that way. And those things have been a problem for me my whole career. And I have never found a convenient, easy solution for it. It's just something that sometimes I fight with, and it's not what I would want it to be. And yeah, it's a problem. And tattoos are the same way. They're dark. An option you could take is you could do it like bricks. You've got, so, you know, let me just show you. So you've got bricks, right? And do bricks the super easy way, just like this on the screen. And so here we go. Here's some bricks. By the way, this is how I do bricks. And then if I just put like a little shadow here.
Are we banned?
What are you talking about? Are we banned?
What happened to the stream? That's what everybody's saying. Everybody's saying what happened to the stream. It looks live. I can see you.
Yeah, we're live. We're fine. I think. We're fine.
I think Eric closed it on us.
No,
it's back. No, it's back. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway.
This is what happens when you're behind. I'm like, oh no, it's too late for me to help you guys because I'm already at the end of the stream.
Okay, so here we go. I'm drawing bricks, right? And if I cast a shadow here, now what I'm going to do is just draw. I'm gonna, honestly, here there are easier ways to do this. Get my brush out, squeeze some ink into it, and here. So I've got shadow here, and the bricks falling into shadow. And now that I did that, this is going to be a problem because it's still wet, but I can just take my white and just, obviously, if I let this dry, this would work a little better, but then I can just go in and just do that. You could probably do tattoos the same way. That'd be worth a try.
Just so you know, the stream loves me. Russ Hicks says, ouch. We love you, Meredith. Chris Cormalis, Meredith Finch. Oh, can you tell Dave he's great? No, Chris, I'm great. Henry Jermick says, no worries. We love you, Meredith. And Matthew Fuentes says, watch out, Dave. That's right. You watch out, Dave. Be mean to me.
I'm gonna have everybody turn on me in no time.
That's right. You watch out. And my little flock. All right. Just getting through the what happened to the stream, and then my screen blipped, so I want to make sure I don't miss any super chats. Here's one from the Real Odin for $9.99. What's up, Dave? I've been having trouble with making my characters dynamic when I structure the character. The final result looks really stiff. Any help?
Now, I'm assuming that you're saying, when you say structure, there's drawing your initial pose, and then there's putting your anatomy on your pose and making it still work.
When he says structure, I'm guessing it's the initial pose. Because then when it's the final result looks really stiff, it just means if it's a little stiff to begin with, it just gets more stiff the more you go.
That's true. And it is a problem. It certainly can be a problem of the initial drawing, but it also can be a problem of putting your anatomy on there. And the biggest reason for that is because I'm zoomed in, I keep constantly being off the camera, but I'm going to draw. So here's an arm coming toward me. Let me use pencil here for this. So I've got an arm coming toward me like this. And you can see, that looks fine, and it's got some energy. It looks like it's kind of coming out this way. And now I'm going to put some muscles on there. And this is where things can start to really stiffen. And it can be really difficult to know why. Okay, so I've got some simple anatomy. Let me lighten this down. And I'm going to draw something tight here. And so now all of a sudden, it's like it's lost all its power, and you're like, why? What happened? Well, the reason that happened is I did all of my overlaps backwards, and I kind of softened some of my forms, but especially because I'm coming out this way, anything that's in front would, obviously, if I've got a shape in front, it's going to overlap what's behind. And so I would have a connection point here like this. So there's my connection point. What's in front overlapping what's behind, and it really reads that way. I've totally broken that here, and it's so easy to do that if you don't know, and you can really end up with a figure that looks very stiff, even though your initial drawing worked. And so we're going to fix it, and I'll just do this quickly, but I'm going to make sure to overlap this behind this, and also I'm hardening up my forms a little bit. This is in front of this. This is going to be in front of this. Now, this muscle really does overlap on top, so it can be a little bit tough, but my elbow is going to, and look at, here I am. Look at me totally breaking all of my own rules now. This comes up and this goes under, and there's no real fighting that, but then this should be here. And so where you have muscles that sit on top, you still have to draw them sitting on top. But for the most part, you really want to make sure that if it's in the foreground, it overlaps what's in the background. Here's my hand. And that totally makes a complete difference. And all of a sudden it looks like it's got some power and it works. That could be what's happening. Not seeing your work is a little difficult for me to say, but I think that that's something you should really try and be aware of. And I do hope that that's helpful.
Van Hall Jr. says, hello, Dave. Did you really learn how to draw just by looking at comics, including anatomy, perspective, buildings? How can that be? Thank you.
Yes, I learned how to draw looking at comics. Absolutely. And how that can be is there are incredible artists that do incredible work. Now, it's not like I've never looked at life. I've had to draw in New York, and I've looked at photos for that, and you can get a lot of great stuff out of that. And I think, you don't want to be completely derivative where you're just looking at comic art. The thing is, looking at comic art is so important. You want to be a comic artist. This is what I'm going to draw my shadow here. This is what we're trying to do here is we're trying to draw comics. And it's completely foolish and counterproductive to ignore 100 years of history and learning and growth in technique from different artists. It's like the old masters, in the academy style of painting, which I know has gone out of fashion, or at least it certainly did for quite a while. But they were looking at life. They were drawing real people in real life, but they were interpreting it through an artistic lens, and they were copying old masters and using their techniques. And you could see the growth of the style over the centuries as they would learn the way that older artists would do it and then improve on it over the years. So the last thing you want to do is ignore, all of the great knowledge that's come before. So yes, I absolutely learned looking at comics. And so did everybody else. All these people that say, just look at life. They looked at comics. I'm telling you right now, they looked at comics, or their stuff would be completely different looking. And it's totally disingenuous to just say, oh, just look at life. Don't ever look at comics. You have to. I think that you can bring in other influences for sure. Like a good example is Bill Sienkiewicz, who looked at Phil Ontes and Bob Peak and a lot of New York illustrators. He was initially, Bill Sienkiewicz was very, very heavily influenced by Neil Adams. And he actually got some criticism for that. I saw an interview where he was saying it was very upsetting for him because people were saying he was like just Neil Adams guy. And the stuff that he brought in was completely outside of comics. It was illustration. And the things that brought to his work is incredible. He still had to go and find that somewhere. And he still looked at other artists, not just life. And so, don't do that to yourself. For instance, there are people that you ask them how to paint, or, they talk about painting, and you can listen to them go on for, 3 or 4 hours talking about how they mix all their paint from powder. Congratulations, it's great, but it's not going to make you a good painter. And, you want to learn how to draw comics, you need to do what people do to learn how to draw comics, and that's look at the stuff that's out there. Publishers know the kind of work that they want to use, and the kind of artists that they want to hire, and they're looking for stuff that will sell. And you need to be giving them something that they know they can market. And so if you're completely divorced from all of the technique and style that's been around from other artists for years, you're really going to hurt yourself. Like that artist that we just looked at, I can see influences in there. Absolutely. I can see shots that other artists have done. I can see some Bill or some Mike Mignola in there. There are other artists' influence, but he's got his own style. And that's a result of the choices that he's made in picking different artists and then bringing his own thing to it, which will happen naturally. But, his art didn't look like an interpretation of life drawn from life. And I don't personally think that's a thing to aspire to for me. Every artist is different, obviously.
Wow. I'm sure when Van Hall Jr. asked that question, he did not expect a diatribe like that. You say they didn't look at comic art? They did.
Well,
That's what I got from that.
yeah.
You're like you just gave a parent lecture.
You know what? I did a panel a while ago. It was like a draw off. Both artists draw characters at a convention, and that came up. And I was talking about influences, and then the other artist started going into this whole speech about looking at life and not stunting yourself and all this kind of thing. And I'm like, I'm right here. I just said that I looked at other artists, and you're saying that you're stunted if you do that. And I'm like, okay, fair enough, but talk about taking a shot. I still get mad about it. I'm like, I can't let these things go.
I would never,
and at the time,
have guessed that would be upsetting for you, David.
And you know what? At the time, I'm like, oh yeah. I don't say a word. I smile, and then I'm mad about it for years, like an idiot. I don't let these things go.
Was this years ago?
It was a while, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been at least since 2021 because we haven't been anywhere.
Yeah. So
2020. So
yeah, you just got my anger over being. I felt like dissed by another artist, and I'm sure he totally didn't even intend it that way.
Yeah, no.
And I talked about. He was like a totally nice guy. I just take the stuff personally, and I can't let it go.
You don't take. No, you never take stuff personally, Dave. That's not your nature at all to personalize stuff.
Look, you know what? You have to.
It's your art.
You have to be able to let go enough that you can show your work and take the criticism. You have to. But you have to be passionate about it and be personal about it enough to care. So, there you go.
Well, we all know that he's passionate, people. And so that's why I don't want to see 425 likes. I want us to get to 500. And really, that's not asking a lot. 500? Come on. Jerome No Drog says, Team Finch for the win. I appreciate the rant.
Thank you. Maybe we could have a whole conversation about how unhealthy it is to not let things go.
Yeah. Let's not have that conversation. I'm going to yawn. Sorry.
I'll say this.
I'm exercising my superpower.
I let these things bother me in a way that I shouldn't, but I really do try to be healthy about it in the sense that, I try to make it push me to be better and not push me to just be angry.
Look, I don't want this to be offensive when I say this, but
here we go.
You have grown a lot as a human being in terms of your ability to take things from an appropriate place.
Yeah.
Since I met you.
Yeah.
I don't want to say you've really matured.
Yeah, look, it's maturing. It is.
But you've really matured.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. And clearly I still have the problem. It's, that's still going on.
Not like it was when I met you.
It doesn't rule me the way that it used to.
Yeah. Spectreman Live has a super chat for $5. Brian Stelfreeze was the first pro artist I ever met in person 30 plus years ago. He was kind enough. Sorry. It is past my bedtime. Kind enough to teach a friend and I how to construct figures.
Oh, that's great. I cannot wait to have him. I've never talked to him personally. I've watched him work. I've stood at his desk. Now, I mean, when I say I stood at his desk, he's always got a lot of people watching him work. So I wasn't that close, but I've stood there and watched him work for ages. But I've never actually gone up and talked to him. I've kind of been afraid to. So I'm very nervous about doing this, actually. It's going to be, one of my artistic heroes.
Sorry, I was responding on the stream. I was chatting. Chatty chat.
Okay.
When is the Monday Night Draw book going to come out, Dave? Henry Jeremick is going to burst. He also wants to know, is it going to be like 11 by 17 or 8.5 by 11? What do we know about this book?
That is a good question. I actually don't know the size, and I should, because I know that.
Excuse me.
You okay? I know that we have
out.
the size established, and I've seen it and approved it, and I just don't remember offhand. I should know. I do know that we have absolutely everything ready to go for it. So it's a matter of it should be up, really, I think, just about any time.
Yeah, you gave everything that you needed.
Yep. We've done everything, and it's being done by Essential Sequential, who is very on the ball. They've done this kind of thing before. So, yeah, it is coming. It's right around the corner.
Caden Lane says, I enjoy your diatribe, David. Now looking at other artists would be like physicians refusing to study physicists refusing to study Einstein. Just learn relativity from life.
Yeah, it is very similar to expecting somebody to look at life and then derive all of the laws of the universe while ignoring all of the findings of people that have come before. Very, very similar. But with art, it tends to be, it's a refrain that I hear, and it always really bugs me, because I feel like it's doing young artists and aspiring artists such a huge disservice. Like, I want to show you how I learned stealing from it. By the way, I was worried. I've titled the video Stop Swiping. Meanwhile, I have totally been caught swiping before. So, I'm like waiting for somebody to just call me out and go, yeah, you've caught. So yeah, bound to happen. But, for the most part, I'm not going around swiping. It's happened. It's happened unintentionally. And, years ago, it's happened intentionally. I've done it. But what was my point? Oh, right. Yeah. I wanted to show you how I did it and how other artists I know have done it. And that's really how you put things together and, bring an influence to make your work better. And so, yeah, I think it's unfair to expect somebody to do this stuff without, and I worked in a studio, so I got to see all kinds of other artists that were also learning and growing, doing this. This wasn't some kind of I'm the only one and everybody else is just, they're just magically putting it all together. No, we all did this. This is how we learned.
Dr. Rock Art has a super chat for $4.99. Oh crap! My screen blipped. Dave, any tips on getting the right size for mutual characters in one drawing? I tend to get too big with a character when drawing it next to another one, and also because I think I read Dr. Rock's last super chat when we had our Eric induced blip. Totally throwing Eric under the bus. Anyway, Dr. Rock has been sick. So he was happy to be with us tonight.
Oh, we did see that.
I read it, but nobody else on stream heard me read it because that was when Eric blipped us.
Oh.
Bad Eric. Bad Eric.
Are we blaming Eric for that?
I'm totally blaming Eric for that.
Okay, fair enough.
He's
not here to defend himself right now.
He can't defend himself, and it wasn't me. So,
it
all
was
right.
Meredith, it was me.
Okay, it was Dave.
Okay.
Bad Dave.
Yeah.
All right. How long before you realized that you did that, Dave?
When I looked up and I saw on the screen was just my background that I've had on there for ages.
It's totally Dave. Dr. Rock Art's question. Drawing the right size for characters, more than one character. How do you do it, Dave?
Okay.
How do you do it?
Now, I'm going to say, where is it? Here. My personal opinion, Ripclaw is much bigger. It's hard to see because I'm zoomed in, but Ripclaw is bigger than Warblade. I kind of blew it here, I think. So, there you go. But generally speaking, the way to do it is I'm going to draw here's just a blob for one figure. Here's his head. And then I'm going to put another figure kind of beside him floating, so they're not really on the same ground. This guy is kind of floating, he's got his feet up. So here's this guy's feet. And I'm just going to, I'm going totally loose. And I would totally do this, completely loose. And so I can see my head's about the same size, my body's about the same size. I'm not measuring, but pretty close. If I go in there and I draw a head and then I, totally detailed, and then I do another head and then a body, I'll end up with problems. But if I go really, really loose like this, those two figures are about the same size and I'll be just fine. And that's how you avoid that kind of thing. I'm going to draw a figure kind of in the background now, so he's further away. I'm going to make him just about that big. I think that's going to work for me. Here's another one a little further away. He's going to be about that big, and I can size them all just with really simple drawings. As simple as that. And that is as simple as I would go for my first pass if I have to draw a bunch of figures all together. Now, if I've got figures fighting, so I've got one figure, he's punching. There you go. And here's his arm. And then I've got a figure getting punched. Well, I want the figure getting punched to be a little bit bigger. He's in the foreground here. So I'm going to make his head just about that big, I think. And then here's an arm. And here's the other arm going back. And I think that's going to work. But I can look at it in a really simple form like this. And I could say, you know what? He's too big. I want him smaller and to be more in the panel with the other guy. So I just erase it and make it smaller. Point is, I work with it at a really, really simple drawing like this, and then I'm not drawing something complex that it gets. Not only is it more difficult to erase, and it's heartbreaking to have to erase something you spent forever on, it's also much more difficult to break down something that's more complex, which is why I recommend artists like Mike Mignola so often. He is phenomenal. I mean, it's deceptively simple, but the fact that it's so simple actually makes it really much more easy for you to break down some of his technique and his composition. Even though it's very advanced what he does, you can see it. It's very clear. So yes, very simple, just gestural drawings. And then when you're kind of happy with your size, you can draw in confidently from there, knowing that you have it basically sized. And thank you very much, Dr. Rock, again. It's been too long since we've done something with Dr. Rock.
It has. All right, next super chat. Oh, pardon me. Comes from Samuel Reyes for $10. Hi, D&M. I'm looking at learning to draw as learning to draw and render shapes in a way that looks believable and communicates what I want to. Photo reference, comic pages, life, everything contributes. Amen, Samuel.
Yes, absolutely. And it all does. I say, I just look at comics. I mean, that's not true either. I do look at photos too. And I do end up having to sometimes take photos. I did a cover for Walking Dead, and a character is laying on the ground and another character is holding his leg and is about to chop his foot off because he's been bitten by a zombie. And two other characters are holding him down. And I'm like, how am I going to make this work at the angle that I kind of wanted? So I got my son and his buddies to pose it out, and I took a picture and did it with that as reference. Usually I don't end up having to resort to that. But when it gets a little complex like that, yeah, I'll totally do it. So that's drawing from life there. So whatever works. Go ahead.
S. Ruvalis has a super chat for $49.99.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
My name is Scott. I just wanted to say thank you for the great stream, amazing tutorials, and most importantly, inspiration. I draw as a hobby and have been progressing more since watching your content than I have in a long time.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad that it's helping. I know for me, I grew so quickly when I got to Top Cow. Top Cow Productions, part of Image Comics, still it's Mark Silvestri's company, and it's where I started. I worked there for 7 years, and it was really a learning studio. Mark was teaching us. We were learning on the job, and part of that was directly from Mark, and part of it was also just learning from other artists and picking up on innovations that other artists were making. And yeah, I learned so much faster there than I did at home. All of us did. It was like jumpstarting all of our career. And that's what I'm really trying to do with videos is you have to do the work. Watching videos is not going to make you get where you want to get. You have to do the work. But anything that I can demystify and help with in terms of, not spinning your wheels. That's what I want to do. And thank you again. Okay, Moon Knight's done.
All right, it's 9:45.
I have enough time to start another one.
Okay.
So what do you think? You know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Cyclops.
All right.
Because he's right here and it's just a head.
All right, perfect.
Okay. I can recover my Alex Ross picture. I don't think we damaged it.
Is it good? You didn't touch you. Alex Ross is safe.
Alex Ross is safe.
And so I have to apologize, Eric. Sorry that I threw you under the bus. It was Dave's fault.
Yeah, when it was my fault all along.
Totally Dave's fault.
You really should have just gone
really
with that.
should have known. I should have known that it was
Okay.
Dave's fault.
So we have enough time. I think I'm going to be able to get Cyclops done in here too. And we're going to do that.
Kleewee says, Dave's latest video was great. It's something I've been doing for years in my own practice, and it was really cool to see someone I admire doing the same thing.
Well, thank you.
And the suggestion from other people for the characters is One Mighty says, I just set up the panel perspective first so the characters are even. So just using perspective.
Yep. Yeah, and that definitely is. If you have characters that go deep, if you have characters that are in a room that has perspective, then yeah, that's absolutely the way to go. It really depends on what you're dealing with. I know for me, a linear perspective is something I avoid if I can help it. Obviously, because I'm lazy. Erase this a little bit here. So this picture, all of these characters, and there are tons of them, this needs to be finished by the end of April. That's my deadline. Did you know that?
What? Say that again?
This picture that I'm drawing needs to be finished by the end of April.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm just saying.
So that means you're going to be doing more of it on the stream?
I'm going to be doing probably a couple more streams of it, and I'm going to be working on it on my own too. All right, Cyclops.
Robert Gamble wants to know, what artist did you learn the most from?
Mark Silvestri was my first biggest influence. And I learned a huge amount, not only from his artwork and being influenced by it, but also from Mark personally, working for him. So I would have to say Mark would be number one. Number two for me would be probably Alan Davis. Before I got in, certainly Alan Davis would be number two. Then I would say the Kubert brothers. Lee Weeks was a really big one for me. I highly recommend, by the way. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with Lee Weeks. But if you're not, I don't know how you could not be. Yeah, you absolutely should be. Not only is he such an incredibly nice guy, but he is...
And a good friend.
Yes, and a very good friend. He's incredibly talented. His Gambit miniseries that he did, this would have been like 93. I mean, it's a long time ago now. But this is something that I was looking at a lot when I was starting. Was a huge influence for me. So, yes. And then when I got in, Simon Bisley... Is he the biggest? Maybe. It really informed so much of my work. So Simon Bisley, and then Travis Terrest, Dale Keown, Mike Mignola, and Kevin Nolan. And anyway, the list starts to, it expands from there. But like the really big ones for me, like early on, that are really central are those ones.
Dr. Rock Art has another super chat for $4.99. Thank you, Dave. Talk to you soon. And wow, that's quite some work. You need to finish right there. I will rewatch tomorrow. Now I need to sleep again.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It was great to see you here. And I certainly understand needing to get some sleep. Time off or not. What is it? 4 o'clock in the morning there? I mean, it's late. I know.
Yeah.
It is late.
Story by Osmosis has a super chat for $10. Happy Monday, Dave and Meredith. I've been really enjoying going through tutorials for building a comic book. Would you be able to do a face portrait on a Monday to help with scaling the detail?
Yeah, you know what? I've done a few. Whenever we have the giveaway, I end up doing portraits. I think I would actually enjoy doing like a 2-hour portrait where I really just, go into the detail on a face. So yes, absolutely. And I think I'll do that fairly soon. I really would enjoy it. So yeah, for sure. Definitely. I'll have to figure out what to do. Maybe you guys have some ideas of what would be really good for a portrait.
And by portrait, do we mean a big head?
Yes. As opposed to what would you think a portrait would be?
I don't know, like big head, I guess.
Yeah, big head. Yeah.
Spirit Retro has a super chat for £5. Dave, you beautiful Bob man. How's your year going, you guys? P.S. Public service announcement. Kitten bouquet. That is all.
Kitten bouquet. I don't understand.
I don't know.
Thank you very much.
But BOUQET, that's bouquet. Right?
Yes.
Very funny. Spirit. Funny. Oh, you little kitten.
Slowing down.
Kevin Mandevil says, well, kitten's on my computer. Lee Week's Daredevil is some of my favorite stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
The Moon Knight trailer's at halftime. They just said on the broadcast.
So it hasn't shown up yet.
I don't know when halftime is.
Me neither.
Art and Guitar says, Dave, you should invite Lee Weeks to a stream. That would be great.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, I bet Lee would do it.
I think he would. Because I know he does for Kubert School. He does stuff online. I think he would. Oh, you know what? I'm going to ask 100% for sure. I think that would be absolutely incredible.
I might come for that one.
See, there we go. We get an artist stream with Meredith. Actually, yeah, for sure you would come to that one. Come on.
Yeah, because I would come for Lee, not for you. I just want to talk to Lee all night.
I know. I can live with that. That's all right.
$30 seconds to halftime. Halftime in 1 minute. Uh-oh, everybody's going to bail. The numbers. Let's get 4 more likes before halftime. We're at 496. So exciting. Are you going to finish before? You're not going to finish before halftime.
No.
We're going to miss it. We're going to have to catch it on the YouTube.
Yeah, we'll catch it later.
Catch it on the YouTube tomorrow. Rika Ingles, 1, 2, 3. I'm off flock. Gotta work tomorrow. Thanks again, Dave Mayer. This was awesome as usual. See you next Monday Night Draw.
You see you then. And by the way, I know you're just going to watch halftime. That's fine.
Yeah, that's
totally lying.
Everybody's going to watch Moon Knight.
Yeah, I gotta go wash my hair.
Yeah, I gotta walk the dog, quote unquote. Spirit Retro has another super chat for £5. Confuzzlement completed. I am pleased. Actual question though. If you had time and funding to do so, what would you base your own comic book on?
I would make it. I would probably do Blight, my own character right now, who doesn't really have a story so much. And I would just draw. I would just draw him killing and eating creatures. Eric and I are working on a story right now where that happens. He's fighting this big spider creature, and then when he wins, he just eats it. And there's no reason. It's not like he gains power by eating or whatever. I just thought it would be like gruesome.
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does.
Maybe he doesn't. Yeah, who knows? There's no story. It's just total stupidity, but it's just fun. And that's truthfully what I would do, which I know is kind of sad. But but there you go. That's what I would do.
Kevin Mandevil says, I'm not leaving early again after catching flack for it 2 weeks ago. Enrique says, I live in Germany. Only half time I have here is my sleeping schedule.
All right, fair enough.
Samuel Reyes is another super chat for $5. Orion Benjamin is another person who may do a stream. He does them for Proco or with Proco for a portrait. Bruno from Anato.
Yeah, actually, he's doing stuff with Proco. He's got a bunch of online stuff. I know he's done some streams. So yeah, I think that's actually a real possibility that he would do it too.
And isn't Anato the Disney movie that Isaac is loving? We don't talk about Bruno. Keep singing that song.
I don't know. I know what you mean. I can't remember the name.
Jim Klein has a super chat for $5. Are there any other artists who are or will be working on this piece after you, or are you finishing it?
I'm finishing it. So yes, it's an undertaking. And a big part of it is doing what I'm doing right now, which is getting all the characters drawn in. But then it's going to be putting in enough background just to hold it together and making sure all the figures all fit together so there's not weird gaps, which are inevitable with these kinds of things. So it's a long way to go on it. And I said that I would have it finished by April. So it's going to be finished by April. I hate missing deadlines.
Well, it's good to keep yourself one. And it's Encanto. And it is Bruno from Encanto. I haven't watched that movie. Watch The Cat's Gonna Click Your Mouse. But I just know Isaac loved the We Don't Talk About Bruno song. That kitten has gotten herself into a position that she cannot get herself out of.
Should I help?
You might have to. She's there she got down.
She just got declawed, so she's really ginger.
Declawed and spayed.
Yeah, really ginger climbing down things right now.
Anthony G is a super chat for $5. I know that a figure with a fedora was discussed before as being the question, but I kind of think it would be more awesome if it were Noir Spider-Man. Ooh. That figure with the fedora that's there.
I love that choice. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna email and see how he feels about that, because I like that choice. But I don't want to just he gave me a lot of room to just hey, if you got a character you want to put in there, go ahead. But I'm gonna run that one by him and see what he says. All right, so there we go. It's 9:58, which is a good time, and I got another character drawn in. Let me clean this up a little bit.
Everybody's upset that we declutter cat, but I like my furniture, and she never goes outside.
Yeah, it's an indoor cat.
She's an indoor cat, and I've seen, my parents included, too many people whose furniture gets shredded, and I work hard for my money. So she lives a life of luxury, loved, and the price of that is her claws.
Just the front ones.
Just the front claws. She never goes outside, so what does she need her claws for anyway?
That looks awful. Oh,
what'd you do?
This is where, when in doubt, block it out. I'm rendering, and I just kind of got carried away. I don't know what I was thinking.
No, too much rendering.
Yeah,
I see what you. Yeah, too much.
Really
that looks
died.
Better.
Yeah. All right, and I'm gonna come out of that just a little bit, and we'll end it there. Okay.
Deadpool says, "You know who should be declawed? The guy that rhymes with pulverine."
Yeah, maybe.
Anthony, I'm not saying that song, but yeah, you better treat me right.
All right.
Because I work hard for my money. That
is going to be it for this one. Thank you, everyone, for spending time with us. Those of you that are still here and not off watching Moon Knight, the trailer, I don't blame you. So,
Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around. And and help me get through a few more characters on this massive piece. When you guys see this next, it will have quite a few more figures finished, because I've got so much to do. I can't just do this all on the stream.
Not sure when he's going to do it, but we'll see.
Well, it's going to have to be fairly soon. So yeah. So yes, that's it.
Thanks, everybody.
And thank you so much to Eric for giving us our book of the week this week. Very much appreciated. And we will see you guys next week. So have a great week, everyone. Not working.